I chose to go from the wardroom to the sick bay by going across the deck, and was there when a line of rockets hit, and I realized as the announcement was made that we were under attack of what was happening. There have been stories told of the number and the types of the wounded that we had, and most briefly just name any portion of the human body that can be wounded, and we had someone who had a wound there. One of the men here, Tom Riley, I remember that he had a almost surgically precise wound of his head. You could look through a portion of his scalp, and if you pulled the hair back, you could see his brain with skull and coverings moved away underneath that. When I think of someone who was not a favorite to make the 20-year reunion, he's the prime person that I think of, but there were many others. The stories of whether there was a flag flying or whether there was not make you sort of think that the Israeli Air Force in 1967 was reliving the days of the Red Baron in 1917, when a squadron of planes was sent out and told, look in this area, and if you see anything that you think is worth attacking, we'll go and attack it. Well, in 1967, this was not the way jet planes, with their short period of being able to fly on without refueling, were operated. They were told there is a target at this spot, attack the target at this spot. And that's precisely what they did, and they did that to the best of their abilities. We would say that this was the Israeli Air Force that destroyed the Jordanian Air Force while it was on the ground, that destroyed the Egyptian tank force in about as much time as it takes to tell about it, and the next day would destroy the Syrian artillery. The USS Liberty began its life as a 1945 victory ship. Our executive officer had commented that two determined men in a rowboat with a blunt instrument could probably take the ship over without very much opposition. However, when the Israeli Air Force and Navy, which had swept the Middle East as with a broom, attempted to take over this ship, they found out that dealing with the smallest, least armed, non-combatant American vessel, you were dealing with a different kettle of fish, that the American Navy is just something different than any other